Anybody out there? Can anybody hear me? I win. Ozman. What's up, Ozman? W. Mars. Padfoot. Alright, you guys got sound? What's going on? How's everybody been? Alright, so I haven't done much live streaming on YouTube, as most of you are probably pretty well aware of. So today's a little bit of a test. We're going to do some stuff, mostly fragging some Zoanthids, and test some stuff out. Because tomorrow night, I want to do a live and hopefully do a live sale tomorrow. We're going to try that out. It'll be our first live sale. We're not doing a very big one, but we are going to mess around with the software a little bit and see how it goes. So I am going to try to connect here on a different device so that I can potentially, look at that, right on top. So I can kind of see the comments while I'm working. But this is the middle room, as you guys have seen in some of the older videos, working on a rehab project for a customer. And it's interesting to have somebody that is interested in rehabbing an older tank. We've completely resealed the tank. It's a freshwater hobbyist that is going to be trying out a aquarium that has overflows and a sump and all that. So we're working through that. So pardon the mess. We're letting stuff dry back there. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cut up some Zoanthids. I got a ton of Zoanthids growing in the 8-footer behind me, and we're going to do a little chopping. I got some new, let me see if I can, here we are. Bear with me, folks. So I got some new cutters that I'm trying out. Some stuff that I want to potentially source, and we're going to give them a run for their money. We got the silver cutters, a little stiff. We got some black cutters that are a lot more springy. They almost jumped right out of the hand there. Then we got some older ones. I've been finding that the black ones, I don't know if right here. My black ones that I've been running for a little while now haven't been holding up very well. And, like, granted, I don't take care of these. I should rinse them and maybe even put them in a container with some type of rust inhibiting component to it. But this is something that I'm trying to get away from. And I want to try out some different stuff, see how it works. But we're going to go through here and chop up some Zoanthids. I've got a little bin. I do need a rack. We got a rack. Be right back. Hey, we got a rack. So we're going to chop up some Zoanthids. See if I can get set up here real quick. I'm going to kind of show you a version of the way that I do it. We're going to need, we got glue. We got our glue. We're going to need some plugs. I'll be right back. Get some plugs in bulk and some discs as well, but we're going to do mostly plugs here. Get some set up. I usually do this after I start cutting, but we'll get some going. you guys can do me a favor, if you're watching and you learned something today, hit that like button. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, hit that subscribe button. Alright, so we got one disc there. I'm going to get some gloves on because I want to be a good representative of keeping yourself safe against paleotoxin, because zoanthids do contain paleotoxin. Not all of them, but some of them do. And it's best to handle them all as if they have paleotoxin. Pad foot. I just started a nano tank, and I want to do a lot of zoanthids. All right, man. Zoanthids are fun, but you got to be cautious with them. You got to handle them with care. You can see I'm putting on gloves. I got safety glasses as well, which I'll drop down here in a second. Dwayne's saying super echoey. Dwayne, let me know if that makes it better for you, or if you guys can hear me at all at this point. Gonna bear with me. Fixed. Look at me learning as I go. Good deal. All right. So zoanthids, we got here some Fruit Loops, which was grown to us by a gentleman that's probably going to end up seeing this live stream at some point. We got some pods on the back there. These are a really good grower. They are easy to frag. They don't usually have almost as much of a fleshy foot. It's not really a foot, but that's how they connect themselves to the disc as much as some other zoanthids. You can kind of see there's a lot of space in here, so it's going to make it really easy to frag that guy. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to grab my new cutters. Let's put them into work here, and I'm just going to go through and try to chop them up as much as I can, see how many plugs I get out of it, and then we'll set up our plugs over here, and I'll show you guys briefly how I go about securing the zoanthids to the plugs. So, word of caution. If you happen to be a person that has their mouth open all the time, a little bit of a mouth breather, you want to make sure that your mouth is closed while you're cutting zoanthids, or maybe turn your face. If you're completely concerned about the paleotoxin and all that stuff, you can wear a full face shield as well. They're pretty more common nowadays as they used to be. When I first started cutting zoanthids, I was like, I looked like Dexter when I was doing it. I'm a little bit more relaxed now. I'm pretty sure I've had paleotoxin exposure a couple times. Not bragging, but there's been a few instances that have happened over the years where I haven't felt very good after fragging zoanthids. So make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you're wearing your personal protective equipment. Let's get after it. You are going to damage some of the zoanthids. Just make sure that you are trying to reduce as much as you possibly can. I'm kind of trying to pick like lanes in between the polyps, just so I'm reducing the amount of zoanthids that I'm cutting into. Sometimes they will hang on a little bit. Get a jumper there. So he'll do like that right there, where you got a little bit of a hanger. Um, there was one time I was talking about it on the podcast a while back. So I was fragging like a ton of zoanthids when I first got the breakdown, which was this tank here in the back and another one. That was kind of a game changer for the store. And I had a ton of zoanthids that I had to work through, and I was fragging about 2 or 3 hours a night after I'd close up the store, and there was this one zoanthid that I'm pretty sure it was a Bam Bam. Not that that matters, but I was cutting it, and I was getting tired. It was late, and I'm cutting, and what I was doing is I was basically um, cutting it underwater, and then I'd pull it out, look at it, pick my lane, go back in, cut it, and I pulled it out and looked at it, and the thing just spit right in my face. I've had that happen a few times with zoanthids. Mushrooms are pretty good for that as well. I don't frag mushrooms as much as I used to, but again, just be cautious. We're still hanging. Rogue Aquariums, what's up, man? How you doing? Rainer, hi. My first live stream, or first stream I can catch. Oh, this is the first time that we've really done. I mean, I did some streams like years and years ago, but I never really got into it too much. Want to kind of change that a little bit. We splashed the computer a little bit on that one. It happens. Things are going to get wet, especially in an aquarium store. That's something I do quite a bit too. That move right there. So like if I get into those smaller pieces and there really isn't anywhere for the zoanthid to go, is I'll actually put my non-dominant hand, because I'm right-handed most of the time, over the frag plug, and then I'll squeeze, obviously making sure that I already have it secured the way that I want it cut. But so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 8 chunks out of that. I can definitely do some more cutting, which we will do a little bit. I got a lamphipod crawling around in there. So I'll probably split a few of these bigger ones up just a little bit more. Pick our lanes. One. This one I kind of wrecked. Zoom it a little bit. Try to do at least a minimum of 3 polyps per frag. Obviously, we're going to let them grow for a little while before we put them up on the website for sale. That might be a loss. Padfoot, you're at work, man? Watching the YouTubes. Hopefully you got a pretty laid back job. Rogue Aquariums, you got a bunch of zoanthids you need to frag too. Like that whole tank right now is loaded with zoanthids. I did a sale on at Corals Unlimited on the website for local customers and also shipping. Um, I did 10 zoanthids for $100. Obviously, if you needed shipping, that cost a little bit more because shipping's not cheap. But we did that this last weekend. The regular retail price for 10 zoanthids is like $150, so $15 a piece. But I got like this disc right here, I just chopped up, which it's not even a grow tile, it's just a disc loaded. And I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, probably 14 frags out of that of Fruit Loops. We're trying to make sure that, we're doing 3 polyp plugs here, but I'm going to try to keep some of them a little bit meaty. And one thing that I do every time that I frag, which I feel pretty good, maybe a couple of these will clean up a little bit. One thing I do every time I frag, shrapnel. That was not the Zoanthid piece that just went. One thing that I do every time that I frag is I try to put at least, I guess I'm changing it. So as I'm talking, realizing I'm saying it wrong. So what I've done in the past is I'll go through and I'll cut up all the Zoanthids, put them on the plugs, put them back in the system, let them heal up for a couple days. And then I would take one piece of that frag session and put it on another tile or even a disc if I don't have any tiles, and put it away, let it grow. I think what I'm going to start doing going forward is doing 2 discs or tiles per fragging, so that I have that 2 that I'm basically putting away in the bank, and then a little bit that I can put up for sale in a couple of weeks once they're all healed up. So I'm feeling pretty good about what we got there. Got my plugs here. So I got 2 plugs. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to get 13 frags and 2 grow out discs. And this right here, I had to go looking for it. This right here is like my secret weapon for fragging zoanthids, especially when you get into the smaller pieces. This tweezers, it's like a needle point tweezer, combined with like smaller cutters. I know that there's like, this is, I'm not going to say the brand because obviously it's not a good representation of them, but this is a different brand's large cutter. I'm sorry, small cutter. This isn't even the large. They're large cutters, which are even bigger than these. I feel like this is a really good size, but these ones are obviously quite a bit smaller. But for smaller cutting sessions, you know, like little acros, zoanthids that are on a disc, these guys are going to work great. This is, I guess, now looking and using these. This is a, you know, I would consider that large. So the other ones are like, you know, gigantic. And then in a lot of cases, once if you need cutters that are that big, you might just want to look at a saw at that point, because a saw, you can make your money back pretty quick, and it's definitely going to cut down the damage done to the coral, and then be a lot quicker as well. So you're kind of reducing that period of stress for that coral. All right, so we need 13 plugs, so I just need 2 more, and we're all set up. So this is pretty good representation of how I go about doing this. So I'll go through, I'll make my cuts, and then I'll have my plugs set up off to the side. And I'm kind of blocking it with my big head there. So what I like to do is I'll lay out the amount that I need, and then I'll go through and put a little bit of glue. With zoanthids, I don't put that much glue with zoanthids, because you're not necessarily, they tend to be a little bit easier. You're not necessarily like with an acro, you're trying to hold it in place and hold it down. You're just connecting to the coral itself, which coral, you know, like when you look at what World Like Corals is doing, I think, you know, ACI might even do it as well. They're using super glue and epoxy, and that has a lot to do because you're trying to glue down a living thing, and it doesn't work very well. So when I am gluing zoanthids down, I'm trying to make sure that it's just enough glue to hold down the piece of disc that I just cut up, not necessarily glue down a zoanthid. So, and I grab a bum glue. We'll go back to that one. Trying to make this, I felt it that time. Got about 30 minutes before I got to open up the store, so I'll move along here. But just little dabs of glue. Happy little dabs of glue. Try to keep it to a minimum because a lot of times when super glue meets salt water, it expands quite a bit. I just need enough to hold that zoanthid in place. While that glue dries, I don't use any type of accelerator with zoanthids. I don't really feel like it's necessary. You guys can't even see what I just did there because my big head's in the way. All right. So this one, yo, jumper. All right. So this one, we don't have. I guess we kind of do. So we got a zoanthid that's on both sides of the disc. So that must have been where, which is kind of interesting because what I'm going to do basically to save that second zoanthid, because there's one on this side, one on that side, is the part that I have the tongs on currently will be the part that I glue down. So I can allow both of those zoanthids to grow. And that's why I like these tweezers, because I'll place it onto the plug, set it into the glue, and then give it a little bit of a tap, as long as I can get to the ceramic. Go through, and the bigger pieces are probably going to need a little bit more glue. So that's my good glue. Oh, that's my bum glue. Now, as far as glue goes, this is dollar store glue. You can pick it up just about at any dollar store. There's some folks out there that resell it, which I think is kind of interesting. But this glue I will use when I am going to completely use the entire tube. This like down to basically there's none left. And the reason that I do that is because it doesn't keep very well. So like if you use a portion of it and then you walk away from it, leave it there for a couple of days, it's really hard to, sometimes you luck out and it will actually be able to be usable after a couple of days. Most often it's not, but it's not usually a huge deal because you're getting two of them for what I guess the dollar store isn't a dollar store anymore, at least not in my neck of the woods. Inflation, but I do try to, in a circumstance where I'm going to use all of the glue, that's when I'm going to use that guy right there. A little bit wider than the tongs. That's all right. Check that one. That one's good. That's a winner. I busted that piece right there. So I could have fragged that one again, but what's going to happen is that glue that I just set it in is going to go up into that crack and seal it. So that'll work out for us. We got a nice little chunk there. Another plug here. There we go. Check this one out. I feel like that one wraps around a little bit. Can't grab it. Definitely wraps around. So that's what happens when you're not fragging enough is stuff will start growing around the disc onto the bottom, sometimes attaching to the aquarium substrate or even the bottom of the aquarium, which is happening right now. So I got to get off my behind and start fragging some stuff. If you guys are cool with it, time I frag, I'll jump on here and share it with you. Did I miscount? I think I miscount. All right. I did. This one's kind of maybe it will pan out, maybe it won't. So I was off by one. I could have went back in and cut some of those, but yeah, is what it is. All right. So what I do now, which I'll grab a piece of PVC, put it down the bottom there. I'm gonna go grab some aquarium water with this right here, and then I'm gonna put it over the top of the zoanthids and allow that super glue to kind of do its thing a little bit, because it can be a little bit of a nuisance if we were just to take these and put them into the aquarium. And I'll kind of get into why I'm leaving these corals out here in a second. All right. So what I'm going to do is just take my hand, put it in the water, and then drip it onto the frag. Hopefully getting that glue to start. Think about binding a little bit. Because what happens is if you just take these and put them into the aquarium, you're going to get these weird snot bubbles. With the glue expanding, there'll be an air bubble that's trapped in there. And I found that doing this and allowing it to dry a little bit in the air will prevent those snot bubbles from happening. Those snot bubbles will go away eventually, but it's just kind of unsightly, and you don't really want that when you're originally, cutting a coral. Not that we're not going to give these the time that they need to heal. So zoanthids and many other types of different coral can sit out in the air for a period of time. There's a really, really old video that is probably still available on YouTube. I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll put a link to it in the description. But the guy was talking, like, you can leave zoanthids out for an extended period of time. I'm not going to say the time in which that he did, but 20 minutes isn't going to hurt them. And especially if you're kind of taking the water, get a little bit, and you're wetting their whistle as they're sitting there in the air, it's going to be fine. Most of these zoanthids, especially if they're established in the system, will open up within a couple hours after fragging. And if they're like really established and really hardy, they can open up within minutes. I'm putting them back into the aquarium. This is just so that the salt kind of, not the salt, the glue kind of binds up a little bit before you put it back in the tank. Because if the glue is still soft and you put it in there, a snail could just crawl over the top of it and knock it off. So that can be a little bit of a problem as well. So we're kind of getting to the end of the road here. I got about 20 minutes. I already got people lining up at the door, but I will give you guys a couple answers here. Hashtag big head. I like it. Tennessee Reef Keeper. Points for you, bud. I've learned so much from your videos, Brandon. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. The reason I do these videos is for you guys. Try to help you out. I know that when I got started in the hobby, a lot of folks, weren't sharing information. I was very secretive, and I contribute a lot to where I'm at today with, people such as Garf. I'm sorry, I almost said that wrong. Garf.org, which I haven't checked their website in a little while, but they were definitely very important people. Leroy, he's now gone. Leroy taught me an awful lot about this hobby and really had a huge impact on who I am as a hobbyist and also as a business owner. Um, I've learned a lot from your channel as well, David. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. If you could upload more. So that's the deal, right? I need to do a little bit better of a job making videos. I had some pretty lofty goals for this year as far as content creation. I have dialed it back a little bit. Um, I want to make more videos for you guys, you know, but like I am a one-man army, and running a store, running service, is a pretty crazy thing. And I have a very good work ethic, but I've lost sight on some things. And I think, you know, if I'm going to say it out, if I'm going to say it as it is and cut to the chase, you know, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for this YouTube channel. So you guys have, you know, helped me as much as I've helped you, or, you know, at least some of you anyways. Ken, where are you located? So I'm located in Maine. We're in Topsom, Maine, right on the coast. And we've been open for about 2 years now. The business is called Corals Unlimited. You can Google it, check it out. We do have a website. We do ship. We do sell corals online. So if you guys, you know, want to help out this venture and support what we're doing here with Mad Hatter's Reef and also Corals Unlimited, which I do have plans to make more videos for that as well here in the very near future. You know, we got that going on. So I'll put links to that, or there should be links to the website Corals Unlimited if you guys want to check that out. We've put a lot of work into the website this year, so a lot of good stuff. Do we ship to Europe? No, we do not. Sorry about that. Another international one. Sorry, guys, we do not ship internationally. Not even dry goods at this point. We haven't really conquered that one yet. I know that there's been, you know, other YouTubers that do this sort of thing that have tried to do international, even like to Canada, and that's been a huge headache. I know that Aquarium Co-op has had some struggles with that. Just did an ICP test. Everything was in order except NO3 and phosphate. Whew. Nitrates were 52 and phosphates were at 0.48. Obviously, water changes are going to help with that. So basically, you got high nitrates, high phosphates. Your high nitrates are actually helping your tank kind of stay in line. If your nitrates and phosphates were inverted, that'd be a recipe for disaster. A lot of things could go wrong with that. So what I would do in that instance is it took a while for your tank to get to that point, you know, to have 50 NO3 and 0.48 phosphates. I would take time or have an extended period of time to get it back to where you want it to be. You know, if you are finding that the corals are doing okay, except for one type, you know, you definitely want to take your time at that point, because it can definitely shock your system if you just go in there and just rip out all the water and reset the tank. A lot of the accounts that I've been doing service on, almost all of them are battling the same situation. So it's not an uncommon thing. I'd go after the phosphates first, because that can inhibit coral growth. High nitrates can as well, but I'd go after the phosphates first, get those kind of down. You can use PhosGuard, Roaphos. That's going to help you out with that. ChemiPure Blue will help out a little bit. Also, Polished Water. Those are some products that'll help out. We carry all that on the website if you want to check that out. But you were the gentleman that asked about international, weren't you? Sorry, man. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap this up. I got about 15 minutes before I got to get open here. I got some folks at the door. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, fragging some corals. If you want to check these guys out or some other corals that we got a pretty good stock of Zoanthids right now. We just released our moonbeam yesterday, so that's a pretty awesome zoanthid. So if you guys want to check that stuff out, links in the description. If it's not there yet, give me about 10 minutes and I'll get that in there. Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys next time. And live stream tomorrow night. We're going to do a live sale. So we're going to see how that goes. That might be a struggle. Might not be a struggle. So we'll do that live sale tomorrow night. I got about 50 corals lined up for that. That should be a pretty good time. And I'll hang out with you guys. We're going to do that in the evening, probably around 7 p.m. Standard Eastern Time. And so that won't be, too late or too early for the West Coast. So we'll do that tomorrow night. I'll be making more videos and podcasts. We had a new episode of the podcast drop today, talking about the cost of reef keeping, and I give you guys some insights on that, at least my view take. I kind of went on a rant a little bit, but I'll put a link to the new episode of the podcast in the description as well. So thank you guys. I'm going to get these in the tank. We're going to get open, kick some lights on, top some tanks off, and hopefully we got a good day here at Corals Unlimited. I'll see you guys next time with a brand new